Time to talk a little sleep. You guys know on the show, I've talked about it many times. I'm still trying to figure out how to get that perfect sleep, and I've never gotten it, for the record, in all of 45 years of my life. Joshua Arterberry with us here from Heartstrong Sleep. We're going to talk about sleep apnea. We're going to talk about getting better sleep and how you guys kind of all put it together. So thank you very much for joining us.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
So let's talk. People sometimes don't think they have sleep apnea. They just say, oh, that's just people who snore or whatever. I'm fine. But sleep apnea goes way beyond that. So kind of help explain what is sleep apnea.
Yeah, so sleep apnea is, the technical term is obstructive sleep apnea. And what that means is that there's something obstructing the air from getting into your lungs and keeping you awake or waking you up. And so it's a very common condition. Estimates are anywhere from 30 to 40% of the population, men and women, suffer from it. It doesn't discriminate. Certainly, big guys like me are more prone because when you lay back, you're that weight on your chest. But we have patients of all size, all ages. We've done pediatric sleep for a long time. Infants to 80 years old. So it's a common problem, and a lot of people just think they have insomnia. But that's a pretty rare condition. Usually it's something that either physical is happening or even mental. And sometimes the body forgets to tell your lungs to breathe. Yeah. Which is that's central CPAP.
So there's this, I guess, misnomer that you have to be overweight or big to have sleep apnea, but you can be fit with sleep apnea. You can have some nose issues. So help us understand what are some of the symptoms.
Yeah, so again, it's usually a narrow air passage. A lot of times also the soft palate will fall back and block that airway. So if you sleep on your back, you're more prone to that. And the therapy is really simple. It's a CPAP machine, and it's just positive air being pushed into your lungs. It keeps the airway open and allows your body to do what it was designed to do. So, but like I said, it does not discriminate on size necessarily. Bigger people are prone, but it doesn't discriminate, and also there's actually a thing called sleep hygiene, which I know sounds kind of funny, but we're distracted as humans, busy humans, social media, looking at the iPad and the phone, even in bed, watching TV in bed. If you have kids, you understand that you don't want the kids, watching TV or doing physical activity right up until bedtime. There's a calm down period. Let's take a bath. Let's settle down. Let's read a book. And that's by design. We want to calm the body down because your brain's going. And some people have a hard time stopping their brain. So we talk a lot about sleep hygiene and helping people find that balance. Caffeine affects a lot of people, eating late. There's a lot of things that affect that. So proper sleep hygiene helps, but if you have sleep apnea and moderate to severe, there's only one thing that helps that. It's CPAP.
Yeah, it's interesting too. I've kind of caught myself trying to eat 2 or 3 hours before I go to bed. I try to stop the blue light and all those things, but there's still that sometimes doesn't work for everybody. There's something going on. So what is the solution? Explain how a CPAP, which I think some people are scared of, but honestly can change your life forever.
Yeah, it really can. It has mine. It's just, like I said, it's a simple therapy. I actually sold CPAP machines. I worked for the hospital. I sold medical equipment for the hospital in Houston. And so I knew all about sleep. I still hadn't had a sleep study. So my wife was fed up, and I would wake up and she'd be in another room. I'd wake up, I'd be in another room. I slept walk a lot. I got up 6-7 times a night to go pee. I was falling asleep at red lights. Any movie, I wouldn't even get past the credits, no matter what time of the day it was. And so I know that these symptoms are very common. And one of the biggest ones, though, is snoring is a symptom, but it's not the symptom. And witnessed apnea is what it's called. So if somebody's, your partner or a friend sees you sleeping and you stop breathing, that's a problem. That's the telltale sign. So the CPAP is the gold standard, and it's a process, man. It's really hard to get through that process, you have to have a doctor's order for the sleep study. They have to read the sleep study. Then you have to have the doctor's order for the CPAP. Then you got to get on the machine, and then you start therapy and the mask doesn't fit. And there's 50 different mask options. And so it's really difficult to get there. And we've kind of perfected that as best we can. Our goal is to get people to therapy. So, and that's difficult. So we have people all the time that have been on CPAP and then they find us and they're like, why couldn't I have found you 10 years ago?
Right.
So I can't stress it enough. If you're already on CPAP and you're struggling with it, the mask is the key to success. But you know, for those guys out there and gals who are just struggling with sleep and not getting good quality sleep, the sleep test is so easy once you get the order for it. And once you get it, that happens overnight. We mail them across the nation. It looks like a watch, and they wear it overnight, throw it away the next morning, and that data comes to us. It's read by a sleep physician, a board-certified sleep physician, interpreted, and then they decide if you have sleep apnea. And the recommendation is 99% of the time a CPAP.
Right. So tell me if this sounds familiar. People feel unrested or not rested in the morning, right? But they just think that's normal. Just normal. And they just go about their life, and that becomes their new normal. They start the CPAP, and they realize, I have all this extra energy. My athletic performance is getting better. My sexual drive is better. There's a lot of different areas that improve, and you didn't even know you could reach that level.
Right. So the body's pretty amazing, right? You know, it fools us a lot of the time. You look at me, I'm a big dude, and he's like, he's got to be miserable. I feel great. And I thought I felt great, you know, but I was getting horrible sleep. And so all those things you were talking about, my body was just adapting to. But what happens is, because your body is being deprived of oxygen every single night for a prolonged period of time, you know, from 20 to 30, and you wake up at 32 and you're like, wow, I feel old. And some of that may be from your lifestyle, but a lot of it could be just you're not getting restorative sleep.
Right.
And so that's really the key. That's where we got to figure out, like, you need restorative sleep. And 7 hours isn't always great sleep, right? You sleep 7 hours and you wake up and have all those symptoms. That's because your body's not getting into REM, getting restorative sleep, and getting oxygen to your vital organs. And all those things take their toll. And next thing you know, you're falling asleep at your keyboard or at a red light, or you don't have sexual drive. And so, you know, I'm not saying it's the end all be all, but it does, it helps. And the people that have taken that step to get there and stuck it out through therapy, I mean, we have people that call us crying, like thanking us that they found it. Not like we were the solution. They did something about it. We just helped them get there. And so that's a good feeling. It's why we do it. It's why we started the company, and it's why we continue to do it, to try to help people.
So what separates Heartstrong from the competition out there? What do you guys do that is so different?
Hands down, customer service. And I think because my partner and I come from a history of poor sleep and figuring it out, and we know how much better we feel and how it's changed our lives. And, you know, it sounds cliche, but it's true. It truly does. And you talk to all these people that are on it, and they're like, it changed my life. And oftentimes the next day, like the first night they're on it. So, you know, it's a place where we want people to get to. And it's hard to get there sometimes, but it's worth the travel.
Do some people take the test and they don't have sleep apnea, but they still have these sleep issues? Or is it pretty much like when you get to this point, that's the final solution?
You know, I think that's probably what we see the most, that when they get to us and that they're there, and we do a lot of screening. The physicians do screening, and there's all different kinds of tests that are standardized that kind of let us know that they're a candidate.
Right.
And I would say that the failure rate of the sleep test is probably 10% for us because of that pre-screening. And we know, and the numbers really don't lie. And so when we get the results, it's like, okay, now it's just how severe.
Is it just one night or several nights of sleep study?
We do one night studies.
Okay.
You know, I think we would love 2 nights and get more data, but really the first night usually tells the story.
Also, how does one start the process? How does insurance work, self-pay, and to close it out?
Yeah, this is the hardest part, right? Dealing with insurance companies. And to me, I don't get it because it doesn't cost anything, and we don't really make a lot of money on the sleep studies. But it's the most important piece, and they tend to make it really difficult on the patient and for us. But it just depends on their individual plan. And so the first step is to either take a self-assessment, a screening tool, or go see the physician to get the study.
Yep.
We do telemedicine visits now, so that helps the process because when I started, you know, I told you we didn't have advertising or we didn't even market. You know, they happen to go to the physician and maybe not even for sleep, and they just start talking about the sleep, and the doctor writes the order. Well, now people don't want to go see their doctors in a lot of cases. COVID kind of made that even worse. So we're looking for the guy who has never, you know, knows they have a problem but doesn't know where to start. So we can help them A to Z. Because you got to get a sleep study, you got to get the order for the CPAP, and then you got to get the CPAP. And so the insurance has to pay for it. And now deductibles are so high that, you know, patients are really cash pay because they have a $10,000 deductible they'll never meet.
Right.
So we have cash pay options. We have payment plans. I mean, we really want to get people to therapy.
All right. Well, anything you want to add before we head out?
You know, don't be shy. You know, we're here to help. We've only been advertising, I think, for a week, and I think I've answered probably 100 messages already. And great questions. You know, a lot of them are things that we've talked about where, you know I need a sleep study. A lot of them are I've seen a doctor and the company hasn't called me yet and I need a CPAP. And several that are just mass fit. I think that's probably the biggest way we can help immediately is get somebody into a mask that fits them. And we have software now. I don't know if you've heard of Warby Parker, but Warby Parker kind of innovated the virtual fitting for glasses online.
Right.
And so this software is very similar. And we take a picture of their face, take an assessment. There's 27 data points. And then it recommends, you know, 3 to 5 masks that thinks
They should wear.
Yeah. And then we let them try them. You know, we want to get them in the right mask. So we have an exchange program. And, you know, I think we can help a lot of people.
Thank you, Joshua.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right.